Hi, I'm John and I'm the curate here at St. John's. It's been a crazy few days, hasn't it? Lots has happened. And I wonder, in this crazy time where they've shut down the churches and we all seem to be on lockdown, what is it that you've been doing? Have you been doing some exercise? It's really quiet out. Wherever you go. Oh dear. It's like you can hear the birds in the trees.
That's how you do a self-ID.
Have you been doing the daily dance warm-ups at 9 o'clock in the morning with Embody Dance?
Side, side, pose, side, pose, side, pose. One more time. Yeah! 1, 2.
Have you been tutoring the kids? Have you been playing musical instruments? Have you been reading that book you've been meaning to read? Or have you been reading the Bible and a chapter of Hebrews a day, like we're doing as a church? Maybe you've done that individually, or you've done that as a family. But the thing is, even in this time of lockdown, we've found the ways of filling our time. Last night we had an online Bible study, which was great to see so many people join us, where we looked at Hebrews 1 and Hebrews 2. And during that time, we felt and we concurred as a group that what the author is saying is that Jesus is higher and greater than the angels. And Jesus has the final word, not only on life, but on salvation. And chapter 3 that we're looking at today carries on the same vein and the same tone. Whereas the author, instead of talking about angels, is now talking about Moses, the Old Testament character. Now Moses is the character which most Jewish people hold in the highest esteem. They consider him to be the most faithful and the most obedient servant. And more importantly than most things, he is a person who brought them the law. And so he is a really important person. But what the author of Hebrews is saying is that Jesus is not only as good as Moses, he is far greater. He is more faithful and more obedient than even Moses. Jesus is someone you should really pay attention to. And then in the second part of this chapter, we have our first of what I think is 5 warnings that the author gives to the book of Hebrews. And it's the first warning is about the worriedness of hardening your heart and not listening or paying attention. And he uses the event of the Exodus journey in order to make their point. See, the thing is, in the Exodus journey, the original Jews, the Israelites that left Egypt, the first generation, when they left, they were expecting to make it to that promised Holy Land, that place of milk and that place of honey. But actually, what was meant to be an 11-day journey, I think it's Deuteronomy 1 verse 2 that talks about going from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea being an 11-day journey. It took them 40 years. 40 years to do an 11-day journey. Now, if my calculations are right, that means that they could have done a round trip 663 times in that time. So they had a lot of time. And in those 40 years, they had to learn a lot of things. They had to learn to listen to God. They had to learn to trust God. They had to learn to be faithful and obedient. They had lots of time. We now, in this stage of life where we're in lockdown, we have lots of time. Lots of time. Unless you're a key worker. And if you are a key worker, can I just say thank you? And also say that I'm praying for you, that during your day, that you'll know Jesus alongside you, guiding you and supporting you in all that you're doing. But if you're at home and you've been blessed with this key time, instead of filling it with the latest movie to come out from Disney Plus or from Netflix, or binge watch something, or spend longer in bed, or whatever it is that you tend to fill your time with, maybe you could use this time to spend time with God. Someone once said that the goal of Christian life is not to get us out of hell and into heaven, but it's to get God out of heaven and into us. And that's my prayer for you today. As it says in verse 14 of chapter 3 of Hebrews, so that we might hold our original conviction firmly to the very end. Please join me tomorrow night if you can for the next online Bible study, which is starting at 8 o'clock. It'd be great if you could join us. The more people who join, the more fruitful the conversation and the more we learn collectively together. So please join me for that. But if not, stay safe, stay home, and stay faithful and obedient to God. God bless.